Hey, everybody, this is the Monday Review, and we got to start with an announcement, which we posted to the Patreon. It is public, anybody can read it, but Waukee and Scuffed have parted ways. He is no longer going to appear on the podcast, and I know that is going to be really sad for a lot of people. It's sad for us, but it is true, and unfortunately, there's not going to be much more explanation than that. We can tribute him and praise him and talk about how great he is. And we should do that a little bit. Don't you think? I got Charlie Boehm here with me and Vince as we sort of soldier on in this new era. How are you guys?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. Just want to say shout out to Waukee. You know, us three, Belz, Waukee, myself. We made some magic, baby. Made some magic. Belz, I told you about a month ago I listened to those those GeoGate pods. We had some real juicy stuff to delve into, right? There are stories within the stories. There were layers, there were interesting characters, lifelong relationships, etc., etc. And you know, I think that's just like that's our greatest work. That's our magnum opus, if you will. And so I'm happy that I went back and listened to this to those episodes before this happened to really cherish and appreciate what we had. But like I said, we made some magic. Not only did we make magic, Adam Belz, we made history. Okay, because when you look at the success that we've been able to have through the Patreon, through being able to take European excursions, etc. You know, the Monday Review played a big part in it. You know, and as I look around, and maybe some people want to come to me with some bank statements, or whatnot, but you know, a lot of people have their Patreon subscribers public, and I can see them. And you know, a lot of American soccer podcasts ain't doing what we doing, baby. And so, and that's what I mean by saying that we made history, real tangible evidence that what we did moved people. And I'll miss Waukee. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's something to mourn. You know, when you say made history, when you said we made history, I thought you were talking about. At first, I thought you were talking about Waukee, you know, being cited. I mentioned this in the announcement, but being cited without attribution by Danielle Reyna when she called presumably Ernie Stewart and said she was gonna make those bounce passes come to a stop, you know, and those cool sneakers. So I mean, Waukee really did have a way of burrowing into the cultural moment and sticking there.
It's canon. It's canon. You know what I'm saying? Greg Berhalter, as the U.S. men's national team coach, you know, there's a lot of things about him that I think people on both sides will say different things, whether you liked them or disliked them. But I think everyone can agree on the fact that he was a bounce passer. You know, and I think if you ask people on both aisles to just name some things about Greg, bounce passes are coming up. So, and like I said, real in the reported word, it was on ESPN. They talking about bounce passes, you know, coming out of Danielle Reyna's mouth. So, like I said, canon. But yeah,
that's crazy. End of an era.
Yeah. We wish Waukee the best in his whatever he gets up to next. Charlie, how you doing?
I'm good. I feel like I'm stepping into some size 14s here. You know, just tapping in for a Monday. It's I mean, I obviously the reason I'm sitting here is the incredible platform that you guys have built and maintained, and the community that's built up around it is just it's marvelous, and it's not just gassing you guys up. It's inspiring, and wow, to think about being in not just telling the story, but in the story. That's just incredible. Not many people can spend a lifetime in this space and not reach that. So Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Being the nexus of the story, kind of, as my.
What is that called? The third wall or the fourth wall?
I don't know.
But you guys not walked right through that.
Yeah.
Through that. So kudos to you and to Watke and everybody listening. It's yeah.
Mostly Waukee, really, on that one. And I feel like another thing he was really good at was interviewing people. I want to say that real quick. He had a way of being specific with his questions. I mean, he was great at researching before an interview, and then in the interview, he would just plainly ask a question that, which is an art, asking a question that is simple and sort of fueled by your curiosity and unusual, not a question that everybody asks. And he was just great at that and charmed a lot of people over the years in interviews that I was participating in. So let's start with PSV and Dest's Super Cup winner, because it's really like the first sort of meaningful competitive action of the European season. That is positive. That is worth celebrating. So I don't. This game was almost, I think it was impossible to watch in the U.S. Right? So I couldn't figure out how to do it, and the footage is not on Wisecout. So basically, all we have is the goal. But it's sort of vintage Dest. It's 84th minute. It's tied 1-1 with go-ahead Eagles. Who lost the Gouda Guardiola to Wolfsburg.
I'm tripping. Yeah.
Wolfsburg.
Yeah.
Trying to keep my German pronunciation tight for you, Vince. And so he carries it up the right side, combines with Gustil, who kind of slips a little reverse pass to him at the edge of the box. And then kind of a little bit reminiscent of that goal that we witnessed in person against Costa Rica. Just blasts it with his left foot from about the same spot on the field. A little bit of in-out action to it. Nestles in at the far post. And that's the winner. That's the winner in the 84th minute. I didn't, like I said, no footage from this game that I could find, but I did catch up on his performance against Athletic Bilbao from a couple weeks ago, and he looks ready. He looks ready for the season. He's fit, spicy,
beautiful, getting some minutes in them legs. The fact that he could go. He went a long time against Bilbao, and then what did he go the entire 90 in this match?
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that's kind of been. I mean, it was like touch and go last year, right? When he came back, he had that little cameo that had us all excited. We were like, "Oh, Serge is back," and then he kind of struggled for fitness the rest of the season, and it seemed like he was kind of struggling for fitness in the preseason as well, a little bit. So to get 2 matches in a row where he goes deep in the matches, and then also while deep in said match, this match that we're talking about, he has this beautiful combination on the right side, scores goal, etc. So I think we can officially say that Serge is back now. Yeah.
Let's go. Now he just has to convince Mauricio Pochettino that he's better than Maximilian Arston. That's what it comes down to.
Tough task, man. Tough task. Or Alex Freeman.
Yeah. Tillman was at this game. Go ahead, Charlie.
No, I'm fascinated by Serge Dest's deployment of his left foot, because he pops that looks so natural. I mean, he looked truly 2-footed on that sequence, and then you think back to the times that when he had to get shoehorned in at left back with the national team, and he's always that guy drifting in. He always wants the right foot, and it's like he's, I know a coach. I heard a coach at the convention one time. I forget who it was, run an advanced session. And he talked about, be better with your. And a lot of pros have this. It's like use your best foot. So if you're, if your best pass, if your best touch is with your stronger foot, do it right. And he's always been that kind of player, like seemingly dominantly right-footed. And I don't think it worked really in terms of the overall 11 when he was in at left back. But I'm fascinated to see if maybe he, some of that gym time in a year or thereabouts on the sideline and coming back from major surgery. Maybe a few little new wrinkles, little new edges to the technical base that he already had. So that's kind of fun to think about.
That's interesting what that coach said at the convention. He said, he was saying, don't try to use your weak foot just to show that you can do it, but like try to make your actions happen with your dominant foot, because that runs counter a little bit to I think the way some of us think, some fans think, where we're like, oh, he's so one-footed, that's a weakness. But this guy would say,
yeah, and I've heard others too. Like there's this idea that there's always a correct foot, right, to play any given pass in any scenario or any ball you're playing, based on body shape and spot on the field and everything. But a lot of, and actually Eric Winalden talked about this back when he did broadcast stuff, like if whatever it is you need to get the best touch on the ball in that moment, especially when he was talking about it in the context of finishing. But it's fascinating to me because I'm a dominantly left-footed player, and I was always trying to work, like always, okay, I should be able to do everything with my right that I do with my left.
Right.
When you watch even a professional level, that's just not necessarily the case. You have to play the right ball at the right time with the right weight on it, and that's usually going to be your stronger foot, as long as you're not compromising that fundamental to play it. Sorry to take us in the weeds.
No, I love that.
So early in the episode.
I mean, that sounds like something I feel like I've kind of accepted about watching soccer. It's like, you would like people to use like their left. It's different than basketball, right? Where like in basketball, it seems, I mean, it's pretty, I played whatever. It's pretty easy to train like your left hand to at least have it usable, to where like you can dribble it, you can finish with it, except, and it seems like in soccer that, I mean, that these actions are just so hard to do anyway. Just even with your strong foot,
right? That
a lot of times the weak foot just never comes into play. So it's like I never really look at it as a weakness when somebody can't use. I mean, not necessarily like a weakness. It's like, okay, it would be nice to have if this person had a left foot, but if their right foot is good enough, a la Tim Weah or something. I mean, you're talking about Sergio Dest, Tim Weah. But if your right foot is good enough to just push that thing to the Man City zone and hit a cutback or whatever, then like, okay, that's good enough for me. Let's just work with that.
Yeah, because in basketball, if you can't go, like if a player can't go left, you can just defend them by absolutely shading to their right, and then you pretty much shut them down, right?
Yeah,
they can't do anything. In soccer, you can't. It doesn't work that way. It's more complicated. You can still go left with your right foot. You can pass to your left with the right foot.
Right.
And you look at like Lionel Messi, the most obvious example of all. Like, dude barely ever uses his right foot. I mean, he does. He can.
And when he has to, it's quite good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But he just doesn't do it that much. Anyway, yeah, I love that. Tillman was at this game just watching.
He's been around a lot this summer. I would like for him to go to Germany. I don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah.
He's like at every PSV match.
I think it's only like 2 hours away from Leverkusen. It's not that far, but yeah, interesting. Leverkusen, I guess we can just dispense with the Tillman stuff right here. He's gonna wear the 10 for Leverkusen, which I think is pretty cool. And they play Chelsea in their next friendly later this week, so maybe we'll get to see him play in that one.
Is that some type of a Super Cup? It's just a friendly.
It's just a friendly, yeah. Okay. Just a friendly. Yeah, I mean, the second divisions are all getting started. The sweatshops of the second divisions are getting going here. The first divisions, their break continues. Pepe started on the bench in this Super Cup match against Go Ahead Eagles, but like I said, wasn't able to see how he played because the only footage I saw for the game was Dest's goal. But he scored twice in the middle of the week against Crosstown. Would you call him a rival? I don't know. Crosstown.
No.
Colleagues, FC Eindhoven.
They're just some guys over there, man.
PSV won that game 3-2. Pepe scored a couple of just kind of classic strikers goals. And actually the second one was pretty nice hit. And I think I was a little bit sad seeing how good Esmir Baraktarevic looked in that game. He was cooking on that right wing.
Yes.
Yeah. Fortunately,
Special
he's
player.
Gonna be cooking for Bosnia.
Yep. Which I have made it known how much I love Bosnia on this podcast multiple times. I will never get upset at a dual net that commits to play for Mother Bosnia. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's my second national team for real. I mean, it really, like, before I really like knew soccer, like the first soccer player outside of like Messi and Ronaldo that I kind of knew was Edin Dzeko, just because of like all my Bosnian friends and Dzeko going through qualification, carrying Bosnia on their back to qualify for, what was that 2014? I want to say.
Maybe
So
2018. Yeah, I can't remember what you say.
I remember that era, the Edin Dzeko era, though. He was fantastic for a while. Okay. And then De Jong has been sold to Porto, so we won't have that storyline anymore. The new villain is going to be Alassane Play. I'm sure there will be some drama with playing time and selection there.
But he's got the 9 shirt. Speaking of shirts,
that's true.
Whatever intrinsic value you do or do not wish to attribute to that, I think that's notable.
It is.
It means something.
Yeah. Let's do some transfer stuff. So Weah to Olympique Marseille is Fab official. Last I checked, it's a loan with a $14 million obligation to buy, some other clauses and add-ons and stuff, but that's good news. I think he wanted to go to Marseille. That's the only place he wanted to go, and there he is. We'll see how he does back in Ligue 1. I think he speaks French, doesn't he?
Believe so.
Yes,
believe so.
Spent a lot of time in France.
I hope that he does media assuming he's healthy and fit and playing well and gets called up in the fall. Really hope he does some media, and maybe we get, if enough time has passed, that he'll give a little, just a little tidbit into the Juventus exit. Because there's got to be, with everything that happened this summer, the whole White House thing, there's got to be some layers to that that uncoupling. I hope we learn more.
But will he actually give us the goods?
Yeah, that's
when asked the question.
A lot has to go right for us here, but I'm still hoping.
Yeah. Gio to Parma is still cooking. Go ahead.
Real quick. Just looking through Marseille squad, and who they deploy in their attacking positions, and where Tim Weah might be able to fit in. It seems like there's a hole on that on the left wing, actually. On the left wing, Mason Greenwood has been holding down the right wing for Marseille and scored 22 goals last season. But on the other side, there's a fella named Jonathan Rowe. It's even looked like they deployed Adrian Rabiot there a little bit, which is just like nasty. So
you've always been a big Rabiot fan, haven't you?
Man, if he was in anyway, we'll move on. But he did decent player, but
yeah.
If he was Jonathan black, if he's black, he'd be playing right back. Okay, but anyway, Jonathan Rowe. What were you gonna say, from Norwich?
Yeah, same guy who played for Norwich.
Yep, Norwich man, and but it's looking like that's it. I don't know what other business Marseille has done. I'm assuming they probably brought in like somebody else to compete for that spot. I don't know. So we'll see where Tim Weah ends up playing. But I think people seem to be kind of like lukewarm on this deal. But but it seems like he's in a position to where he can earn some minutes, and that's all you want. Well, whether or not it happens, it's up to them to stay healthy, get on the pitch, and perform. But I think he has a decent path to playing time.
So. Good. I think. Go ahead, Charlie.
They did also bring in just a few days ago, brought back Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So a very interesting squad, very global, foreign legion vibes to the Zerbi's Marseille.
Nice.
Yeah, it might be a left wing guy right there.
They even got some CONCACAF. They got Murillo, Panamanian, on the squad. Yeah. It's just funny to see these little connections throughout, as players wander across the continent. So Michael Amir Murillo, got a bunch of English dudes. The interesting squad.
I'm excited to see it in the Orange Velodrome. The very, very nice venue. I've watched many a match in there. I know a lot of people don't have BN, and based on what I've seen on Discord, people aren't excited to get it, or they are just not going to pay the $10 to Sling to get the World Sports Package to have BN. But I think you should. League One's interesting, in my opinion.
Jonathan Rowe just shows you that it is possible to leave Norwich and go to a better league, which is a little bit of an indictment of our redheaded friend from St. Louis. Still a little salty about that. But anyway, Gio to Parma, still cooking as a rumor. The Parma accounts are saying that Simon Sohm, a Swiss attacker, is headed to Fiorentina, which frees up cash for a better offer for Gio. Expect updates this week is what they're saying. And I'll be feverishly refreshing my computer because this matters. This matters a lot to me. And I think it matters to our chances next summer if Gio can get going. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times.
Yeah. It's a key part. It was a key part of the whole idea that we would be good one day.
Right.
Like Gio would hit and become like at least a Pulisic level player. If we had two Christians, yeah. I mean, we didn't talk that much about it last week, but watch him against Liverpool. It's like, man, like he is just consistently a good player against good teams. And we don't have a lot of those, obviously. I mean, particularly in the attacking third,
Right. Yeah. That's the key part.
I really hope the reporting that I saw, or I guess it's more like rumoring and reporting that Dortmund are setting a hard line here. I really hope that doesn't prove to be the case, or doesn't turn to be an obstacle to this deal. You would think that BVB want to get this over with and get him off their hands. I don't know how they could possibly have an arbitrary number that they're going to insist on, but it's concerning that it hasn't been official yet.
They really have no leverage other than
right,
just being hard-nosed Germans.
Yeah, I did tweet at Stefan Buchko, who has the Yellow Wall podcast, and he thinks it's happening. They're selling him before the end of the window. So I don't know.
Yeah. Good.
Prayers up. Juve wants to sell Weston, apparently. I mean, not that we haven't heard that before, but contract renewal talks reportedly have stalled over disagreements about agent commissions. So I take that for what it's worth, but that's, I guess, West move is in play, and then we're looking at maybe we do have to go to France instead of Italy.
Yeah. Yeah. What? I don't know. I don't understand the whole agent commission thing, just in general.
I have to be honest, I don't either.
And how because like we don't do business like that over here, right? And of course, like the transfer part is like very murky as far as like understanding really how those things go about. It's like, okay, we get a transfer fee. What? Well, it's not even a transfer. This is a contract. What's going on, man? Don't you negotiate that with your client? How is that being negotiated with the club? Especially when we're talking about just a regular contract renewal. Corey Gibbs.
This is when agents get paid, though. That's the thing. I mean, agents, it's the you get the drip of the 5% or whatever on the month to month, but where they really get paid is the transaction, is when there's a renewal or a transfer. And my understanding is that's the agent, that's the real bread and butter for the agents. So and I think it just reading between the lines, just what you hear, I think it drives clubs crazy. I think they're a lot more annoyed giving money, and in some cases it's really big money to an agent than they are to their player. But again, not to circle back to this, but the events of the Club World Cup, their summer in America, have me now questioning everything about how Juventus operates. There's just so many questions about the decision making process that I just wonder, with Weah and now with McKinney, like, what are they doing over there?
Well, I mean,
a serious club.
Chuck, you saw the White House video, and Infantino, man, it was clearly
Nobody thought that
Gianni.
through.
But it was clearly Johnny, man. He told them to come. They had to come. I feel like they were. Did they play a match in DC?
Yeah.
Juve?
Yeah. They played that night.
Yeah.
It was the day of their
okay.
Against Al Ali, I think it was, or Al Hilal.
They got two Americans. I mean, it just is what it is. It just is what it is. And I mean, when Trump didn't only ask the question to Tim and Wes, he asked it to turned over his left shoulder and asked the Juve brass as well. And they looked every bit as comfortable as Tim and Wes did. So I don't know. I'm not putting too much of that on Juve. I think it's just Gianni Infantino being a very nasty and shameless man.
It's just crazy that McKinney's still in this, though. Like, how many summers has it been that there's just something happening with Weston McKennie and Juventus?
It's been everyone.
It's ridiculous.
Basically, other than the one after Pirlo's first season. Because then, we get a loan to Leeds, parking spot lost. Come back in, parking spot lost.
But you know what? Like, our experience, Vince, talking to people outside the stadium in Rome, I think really illustrated, to me at least, McKinney is loved by the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Juventus fans really do like him a lot and appreciate him. I would not say the same for Tim.
No.
They like, he's there. Nobody was going to say anything mean about him, but like, Wes is to them was an important part of the team, and Tim less so. So I don't know. I'll believe it. I'll believe his exit when I see it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yep. That's what it comes down to. But I mean, with the contract thing, that might be something that actually forces their hand to get something done. So Corey Gibbs, if you listen to this podcast, man,
what an awkward conversation that would be as an agent with your client. Like Wes, you're gonna have to leave because they're not going to give me 20,000 euros. They're only going to give me 16,000 euros. So pack your bags, buddy. I don't know. That seems crazy. Middlesbrough submitted a bid for Arfston for about $3 million, reportedly. Who knows if the Crew want to sell? You got any insight on that, Charlie?
I haven't talked to anybody over there lately. What I can tell you from a conversation I had with Isotal, their GM, in the winter when they had the whole Cucho saga, he mentioned me offhandedly that there's still he in his experience, there's still not the respect you would necessarily hope or expect for at this point towards MLS and its clubs in general. Basically, in saying, not in so many words, but that they get lowballed a lot, and I think that annoys him and people in his job around the leagues. If they feel like their role in a player and the quality of the players they have is not necessarily respected always, and so it would serve to reason that you would have to be a little firmer and more patient with your negotiations in scenarios like this with Arston. But it's such a success story. I mean, this is a 2-player. This is a guy that they nurtured into a starting level and eventually international level player. So I don't think they're gonna hesitate to let him go, but they're gonna want the right price, especially for a team with trophy ambitions in mid-season, letting go of a starter.
Charlie, are you insinuating that Maximilian Arston is a $7 million player?
Telling him to double up or get out of here, it would be a strong negotiating take, I think. But I do see why they would want to nudge that 3 mil number up a little bit with the window open for a little while longer here.
Okay.
7 seems like a big number to me, but
maybe 5.
Maybe
5.
Wide left player, relatively 2-footed. I can imagine Issa wanting a little improvement there.
Well, Parma and Dortmund are at loggerheads over a gap of 2 million. So I mean,
yeah,
I guess every million counts.
I mean, it's August 4th. Everybody can be tough, on August 4th.
Right.
As the month plays out, things get a little more scrappy, a little desperate. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything else.
I hope it happens though, because this you like to see little clusters of Americans. You got Aiden Morris there, and I think that helps. I think that helps the team and the individuals.
Yeah, I agree. And although I'm a little sour on the championship, thanks to Sargent at this point, but thanks to Josh.
That's a good league though, man. That's a hard league. I think
totally.
We back when Klinsmann was coach, this kind of word got out that he didn't rate the championship, and so there was players that were Americans that were playing there did not necessarily get as long a look as other leagues in Europe, and I just don't get it, man. I get that it's not the top flight, but that is a dogfight of a league. So I respect any American that goes there and cuts it or tries.
It is a dogfight for sure. I guess there's some rumors about Forest pursuing Musa, Napoli's pursuing Musa. We'll see. Hoffenheim is interested in Brian Reynolds. He wants to move this summer from Belgium. Musa scored a goal versus Perth Glory. The Perth Glory. That's an Australian team from the west coast of Australia. Roofed it from close range in a tight angle. Made the game 8-0. So, a little bit anticlimactic. But good to see him hitting the net. And then just real quick on Christian, he's saying, he's maybe a little dealing with a knock, might miss the last 2 preseason games for Milan. But he's saying all the right things about Allegri. In my opinion, quote, Allegri has started off on the right foot. He's coached many champions. He knows how to talk to players, how to create the right feeling with the team, and he's focusing on giving Milan significant defensive compactness, an essential characteristic for creating scoring opportunities. I mean, I agree it's an essential characteristic that they did lack last year, but
the last part's a little crazy.
He might have been speaking Italian. Yeah. Let's talk about Leagues Cup a little bit. The nation is watching as MLS and Liga MX face off. I caught a bit of Charlotte versus Chivas. Ended in penalty kicks, a penalty kicks win for the team from Guadalajara. Interesting to me because there was a left peg stunner from Richie Ledesma. Almost identical to the Serginho Dest goal. Ream was out there steady, kind of looking exactly like he does for the U.S. Zaha is the focal point for their attack as Ajimang tries to settle in and get healthy for Darby County. And then, just another piece of interest, Efra Alvarez looking willowy out there, no longer eating hamburgers every day. And, and kind of full of ideas for the goats.
This is the most Norte Americano, or no, could we say most gringo that Chivas have looked in a long time. Ledesma
ever,
Efra.
probably.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Cowell's there too, right?
Cade, yes, it's really cool. I mean, I gotta say too, like,
yeah,
the older among us will understand me. Like, this was inconceivable just a few years ago. Like, you had to renounce your American eligibility. You had to renounce any future U.S. call-ups to be signed by Chivas Guadalajara. And now they are shopping. They be shopping in California.
Right.
We'd love to see it.
Globalization just smooths over and homogenizes everything, doesn't it?
Yes. If only it's like, is Athletic Bilbao going to send the scouting team up to Idaho? That Basque community up there? Man. Let's go. That's the equivalent.
Yeah. Gabriel Melito, the coach of Chivas, said in the middle of the week, Cade Cowell is our striker. And then he didn't start either of the next two games. So, but anyway, Charlie, you've probably been watching a lot of Leagues Cup. What are some sort of big takeaways here? What do you see?
Yeah, listening to it's sort of I'm getting Club World Cup parallels here, because I totally understand, like, it is a new tournament. It's a AstroTurf, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of negative things you can say about this creation that a lot of people see as an unholy addition to the domestic landscape. But I think it's going to persist, and they keep tweaking the format, right? It's a new format this year where you have kind of unusual, like, everybody plays 3 games, but everything's across league, right? And it's actually ended up being very interesting because it's very harsh. Like, no one's exactly sure. It's only the top 4 on each side that go to the knockout stages, and no one's quite sure what points are going to be enough. You can have some of these late equalizers and stuff have been disastrous because you go from 3 points down to 1 or maybe 2 if you can win the shootout. And I've come to see it as they're onto something. They're going to keep trying this. There's a different energy. Some of these games, not all of them are getting great crowds, but some of these games are getting big crowds, like lively atmospheres. There's this sense of challenge, I think, when you have, like, when Club America goes to Real Salt Lake and all these America fans, of course, America draws crowds wherever they go. And there's big crowds in Utah wearing gold. That draws a response from the home crowd, right? Who naturally take a little bit of umbrage or want to respond to the vibes they create. I think the players feel that on some level too. Not everybody's going to be as into it. If you because of the format, if you lose your first game, maybe the coach's approach changes. But there's just a different vibe to these games. I think it's useful for the players. I think it brings a different sort of stakes, and it's a taste of an international level competition that a lot of domestic players are not necessarily going to get at this phase in a league campaign, or at this age, or at this point in their career. So I think there's something to it. I mean, when Diego Luna steps up to take a penalty kick, they win a penalty kick against Club America. They're trying to pull off a huge upset. His kick gets saved. I just think that's going to hit different for him and have a different experience, and in the big picture, developmentally, there's a lot of benefits to this for the player pool.
Yeah. That Chivas Charlotte game was like a home game for Chivas. I mean, it was, that was a challenge to the people of Charlotte for sure.
To the people of Charlotte.
and listen, making dudes take PKs. I know it's not the same as an international tournament or whatever, but I think if you're thinking ahead, if you're thinking positively that the MNT is going to get out of the group next summer, and then from there on out, you're always in a possibility of shootouts, and I think it's good. They kind of stole the idea, I guess you could say, from MLS Next Pro, where they were doing these tie-breaking shootouts. I think it's actually pretty good to get players more reps in that scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it pay dividends, right? With Alex Freeman. Everybody's wondering what is Alex Freeman doing here? Stepping up to the spot, polar bear in Arlington, Texas. Alert. But he took the coldest pin of all, and then as the Discord kind of dove into it a little bit, it was like, oh, he's used to doing this from Next Pro.
Took like 30 penalties last season or something.
So,
well, just to be 100% clear on the format, there's 2 giant like tables, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they organize that, but only the top 4 from each table go through to the bracket at the end, and then to the knockout round. And you get 1 point for a draw, 2 points for a draw where you win the penalty kicks at the end, and obviously 3 points for a win. So it is very, it's anybody's guess who's going to go through, because there's like teams with 5, 4, and 3 points going into the last game.
Yeah, only a couple teams have taken max points so far. Kind of surprising. Like with many teams have now played 2 games, and Tigres on the Liga MX side and Seattle and Portland are the only teams with 6 out of 6 points. So kind of interesting.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
I tapped into the Columbus Puebla match. Not in real time, just on Y Scout, because I saw the young Moroccan American USYNT player Taha Habroun had 2 assists. Real quick before I move on from the Moroccan American part of it, I just want to shout out French Montana. But so I tuned into the match because I'm like, okay, 2 assists, and the assists look nice, right? The videos, like they nice plays. The first one, he picks the ball up right outside of the left touch line in his own half, carries it about 40 yards into the top left side of right outside the box, right to the left of the D, and plays a slick little pass to is that Diego Rossi?
Mm-hmm.
Diego Rossi, who gets a little toe poke in and scores a goal. Very nice from Taha. The second one, almost like kind of starts out as a carbon copy. Once again, picking the ball up, left touch line. That's where he was popping up and build up quite a bit. He's kind of playing like left wing in front of Max. In front of Max Harston. So received the ball once again, had some room to carry the ball into his half or Puebla's half, and then starts a little combination. I think he plays it. I think Rossi starts it off, plays it to Rossi, and then he just continues his run into the box, gets it in the box, and I don't know who it was for Columbus Crew streaking down the right side, and he scored another goal. So that was 2 assists from Taha, quite nice. So like I said, I tapped into the film. He is our official Clip Notes Player of the Week.
Okay,
this week. Okay,
Taha,
nice.
Because everyone else is in preseason. I sprinkled a little Tanner Tessman in there, only 2 clips, because this stuff really just doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
For a lot of these dudes, it'd be different. Like Noah Kai Banks had a good performance against Crystal Palace, but it was one of those things where they played Crystal Palace twice, and Chris Richardson, everybody played in the match before. Noah Kai did not play against them. But anyway, so for people trying to establish their place, maybe it means something, but we don't got a lot of film on those games, right? Popping up on Y Scout or whatever. So anyway, I wasn't dealing with I didn't have the material. So Taha is the player of the week. You got a solid 10, 12 clips and clip notes of Taha. Once again, $5 a month. Access to these videos. I produce, try to produce once a week. Will be producing once a week. But anyway, so how did he play overall? I think it was a mixed bag. Okay, this is a 06. Bro's 19. I think his birthday's in February. Big lad. He's about listed at 6 foot. Looks like it.
Not the fleetest of foot, right?
Not the fleetest of foot. got a little bit of dog in him. He's tuned into what he needs to do defensively. You know, I didn't see any like by a few times. I want to say like 2 or 3. But the bad here is that really outside of like when he received the ball in the attacking third, the rest of his general play was kind of mixed bag. He had two Cardosos. I'm gonna start calling. He had 2 Cardosos. Okay, everybody should know what I'm talking about. Johnny Cardoso-esque mistakes deep in build up, like early in the match, first 5 minutes, 2 back to back. One where he received the ball, turned, and like had plenty of time to decide what he's going to do with it. Decided that he was going to spray it out wide to like the right fullback. That gets picked off. He had another one where he comes back to receive the ball. He tries to pass it back to a center back. That one gets picked off as well. Nothing came from these mistakes, but once again, 2 Cardosos, and it just there were times where, you know, he tried to replicate the magic of the 2 assists on the carry. He had a couple loose touches where he was losing the ball here and there, and so and in between these mistakes, right there are flashes of nice play where he brings he kind of where he'll bring down a popped up ball where it's like, okay, that's a nice touch, or he'll receive a ball while he's on the move and bring it along with him. And his close control is pretty nice to where he doesn't have to slow down or anything. He can continue his run and pick up the ball and keep the person on his hip while he's moving. He did that once or twice. So I'm and this is I'm not as tapped into the youth national teams as well especially you know my rule about the U17s. I don't tap in with the U17s. These are children. Hit me up when they're U20s or playing professionally. And so this is really kind of like my first look at him. I think he's all right, man. But it's just like, I don't know. I think I might want to see some more from the physical profile, or really just kind of trying to understand what kind of player he actually is. It's because, is he a midfielder? Is he just a inverted winger? Is he a 10? Is he good enough to be these things? The assists were nice, but also it's like Puebla didn't have the capacity, it seems, to track this ambling 6 foot 19-year-old down. You know, that's one thing about Liga MX, man, and Mexico in general, right? Is just kind of the reason why we've been able to have why they haven't beaten us competitively for 6 years until right now, right? It's because they can't cover ground for real, and you kind of saw that on Taha's 2 assists. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. For more evidence or whatever, just watch the clip notes. You'll see.
Okay. Hearing all that makes me think, man, we just need somebody to explode on the scene. You know, just we need some real excitement. That's why everybody's so excited about Cavan, even though he's not exploding on the scene, you know, because there's a possibility he will.
One thing I'll say, Nancy. So Habrun came off the bench in the Hell is Real game a few weeks ago. I think it was 3 weeks ago, and Crew down 2-0 after 5 minutes and come back and just smoked Cincy 4-2. And he got the exclamation point late on. And Nancy said something that caught my attention. He said, I love him a lot. This is Wilfred Nancy on Taha Brun. I love him a lot. He's brilliant. He has quality. We know that. But when he was ready to play, he went off with the national team, meaning the US U20s in the beginning of the year. The last 2-3 weeks, I would say he was still good technically and tactically, but he was angry. So a young man is getting tired of waiting, and I think he's showing some urgency in training. He's getting rewarded with minutes in the games. And I think one thing I'll say is, like, we can have the athleticism, the conversation about Liga MX, but those teams are more cutthroat at punishing mistakes. And so I think it's a great environment for a kid like that to learn, because the Crew system is all about being daring, managing risk, riding that line and I think he's in a great developmental environment. I'm watching him closely. I'm not going to be surprised if he's one of the next Nancy Ball prodigies that climbs the ranks here.
Fantastic. Okay, two.
Well, real quick before we just leave this real quick. In watching Taha on Wascout, like him and Max were sharing a side, like I said, and I kind of caught some Max Arfston in this match as well. $7 million Max Arfston, and yeah, that performance was nothing to write home about from what I could see. Like I said, you know, he popped up in a couple clips here and there, made some weird passes, but anyway.
And see here, I was thinking Taha was just riding his slipstream, you know, just
no,
enjoying,
not in this match.
Enjoying that cozy space underneath the wings of Max Arfston.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler Adams was healthy enough to play 84 minutes, and Bournemouth lost to West Ham, which is the most important thing. Well, it's not. There's another more important thing, but that's important that he's healthy enough to do that. Even more important is he announced that he got married to the mother of his child. Congrats to him on both things, on the marriage first and on getting healthy second. Johnny, you know, you've now called a mistake in the defensive third of Cardoso, which is totally fair given what we've witnessed from him over the last 18 months or so. But, you know, he was on the bench for Atletico Madrid in the middle of the week, played the second half of their friendly over the weekend. But, you know, perhaps the most interesting Johnny-related thing these days is there's an Opta analysis article about why Diego Simeone wanted him. And, you know, I think the visceral reason is that he balled out against Atletico last fall. I mean, he really played well in that game. And I mean, you have a better memory than me, Vince. You probably remember it. But he also seems to feel a need for Atletico, and the article kind of lays it out. So only 4 midfielders in the top 5 leagues made more interceptions per 90 than Cardoso. So he's really good at sort of shielding that back line. He's also, for his club, extremely reliable in possession. To quote the article in a part that has just sad irony for us as U.S. fans, he's safe, precise, and rarely makes the kind of mistake that forces the team into emergency mode. I guess with the goal he gave up against Turkey, there was no emergency mode because it just turned into a goal immediately. Defensively, I think well above average when it comes to like reading the game, and then, you know, at least for his club, really reliable in possession. And so he's going to just cover the back line, make wise decisions, and create a platform for all the attacking talent they have there. And I think the last line of the article was good. He quote, won't be the face of this new era, but he might be the reason it works, end quote.
A couple episodes ago, we laid out the competition that Johnny may face at Atleti, and I mentioned Koke and some young Spanish midfielder. I forgot his name already, but I forgot Conor Gallagher is also Atletico Madrid player. So that's another obstacle in his path, I guess. I mean, do I really rate Conor Gallagher? Not necessarily, but he's there, you know.
Yeah, they didn't even talk about Gallagher in that piece. I don't think, but I don't know. Yeah, Koke. The thought was that he would prolong, that Cardoso would help prolong Koke's career. You know, I guess he's on a 1-year extension.
But Rodrigo de Paul is not in the mix, so that's
right.
Good for him too.
Balling out for Inter Miami now. I mean, Johnny's a strange case because, like, it'll be so odd to have a player. I mean, if his move to Atletico Madrid succeeds and he does actually end up playing a key role for them, how odd would it be to have a player at a club like that not, you know, having done so little to win over the fans and the coach, frankly, of the national team. For us,
it's gonna be about what he does in the U.S. camps,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And you certainly hope that even if he's not starting every game, that he'll still get the call. You know that Poch is going to have his eyes on him. He's well connected in Spain. Short flight, short hop over to London if he ever wants to watch him play. So let's hope he puts it together, man. It's just like Sargent. It's like always sad when these dudes can't put it all together at the international level the way they can at the club level.
Yeah. Okay. Dino Topmuller, your old friend Vince, sending signals in Philly that Pax will stay at Eintracht Frankfurt this season. Jonathan Tannenwald tweeted that he said he doesn't quite say it outright, but indicates that Aronson will stay with the club this season. So,
man,
that's interesting.
I need to hear the exact quote because I mean, really, if I hadn't posted that video, I could have posted this exact thing. that Jonathan Tannenwald said, and I would have been technically true. But Dino Topmuller's response, when I asked him, was just like, "Hey, everybody here is a part of the squad, baby."
I mean, I expect better of Tannenwald than to take what Topmuller told you and then turn that into.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but I'm saying.
I know. Not that he say Topmuller said the exact same thing to you that he said to Jonathan. Mm-hmm. No, said the same thing to Jonathan that he said to you. I would expect better from him than to take that as an indication that he's going to stay. I would. My suspicion is that he would have said something more indicative, if you will. But you're right. I'd like to see the full quote too, because what he told you did not, to me, indicate that Pax was going to stay.
No, I mean, no, he definitely left it up in the air.
Right.
He didn't answer the question. Eintracht Frankfurt, Louisville City. I went down to Lynn Family Stadium once again to take it in. Paxton Aronson with the start. Once again, he did what he should do against Louisville City. He looked okay. Marvin Dill's got a start. Young U20 American who just came on my radar when it was announced that he was going through the preseason with Eintracht Frankfurt.
17, right? I think he's 17 years old.
I think he might be like 18.
Okay.
19. But anyway, young fella. Okay. Going through preseason with Frankfurt. He started on the right wing in this match. He's not a winger. I could tell that just from watching. This is like my first exposure to the man. He's not a winger. You could just tell from watching. Like, he had plenty of times where he had like 1v1 opportunities on the wing. Didn't quite take them. I was talking to Marcus Cherez kind of during the match and after. He told me he was a 10. That Dills is more of a 10, and it makes sense because his best moments in the match were like moments in combination, moments when he could kind of release people, like release a striker making a in to out run into the channel. It's just stuff like that. So, but Dills also did score a goal, received the ball in the box, took a touch, kind of turned, smashed it about right at the penalty spot. That it was quite nice. I think he's, he got a shot. Whatever.
Everybody's got a shot, man.
Right. So
he apparently just joined the first team. I think it sounds like I'm just reading about him a little bit here. It looks like he's expected to play for the U21s this coming season, but he's already played for both the U.S. and U.S. and Germany youth national teams, and they got their eyes on him, both the club and country.
Yeah. So,
what my favorite thing you got was that interview with Timmy Chandler. He seemed it was just a couple questions, but that was nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I didn't know what to expect, right? You hear a lot about Timmy Chandler.
He's besmirched, right, I would say, by the fan base a bit.
And so, yeah, I just walked into this with like no expectations. Had no clue what to what to expect from him if like I was gonna bring up the U.S. men's national team and he was gonna like hiss at me or something like because like you listen to people talk about him, it's like, man, this dude, one, hated playing for the national team. Two, told somebody like who was, there's some famous quote where he told somebody like that the club is what you need to worry about, not the national team, etc., etc. So I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on with this dude. And it turns out, number one, he seemed to be happy that I brought up the fact that Eintracht Frankfurt has an American flavor in that camp. I asked him about Nathaniel Brown, Paxton Aronson, Marvin Dills, etc. He said they're all good players, been doing well in training. Nathaniel Brown is hurt and made no appearances in Louisville, but he said you saw what he could do last season. And then I asked him about Nathaniel Brown's decision, and this is where I kind of thought you would see some of the like indifference show up, if there is indifference. Once again, like this is before my era, like the whole Timmy Chandler thing.
Right.
But he kind of lit up. And he was like, yeah. When it's that time to talk to Nathaniel Brown about what needs to be done, I will make sure that I talk to him and only say good things about the United States. Yeah, so I don't know. You expect one thing, right? When you hear all this stuff about a person, then I talk to him and I'm like, man, he's a cool dude. I think I can hang out with Timmy Chandler. People like kind of paint him as like a curmudgeonly type figure, But I mean, there has to be a reason why Frankfurt's keeping him around as long as they have. Like he played a little bit in this Lou City match. Like he's washed. That brother is he can barely run, bro. He can barely run, but they keep him around for a reason. And it seems like he's a vibes guy.
Something else that occurred to me watching that video is he was happy to see you. He was happy to see you in particular, and not that he knows you or anything, but you were talking last week about how, as a large black man, you run the risk of alarming people, right? You had to figure out how to move, how to move in the right way, which I totally get. But there is a flip side to that.
There is,
especially with athletes, they're happier to see you. Imagine if I walked up to Timmy Chandler, he's not going to look at me the way he looked at you, So I think there's a double-edged sword here.
There was some kind of reverence there too. I got a commanding presence. Yeah. But
yes.
So my brother made
they're looking up. They're looking up at you, and they're smiling.
My brother remarked when I got that Chris Richards video from a while ago in Kansas City, when the day after they went to the Chiefs game, and I asked him about getting the tickets.
Thing.
Yeah. My bro was like, yeah, you can tell he kind of messed with you a little bit. But so yeah, that happens. I talked to Timmy Chandler, and then I also talked to Timo Hartung, I think that's his name, the sporting director of Eintracht Frankfurt. I didn't necessarily want to talk to Todd Muller again. I felt like he was just going to give me the same answers he gave me last time. But so I asked him about Marvin Dills, first of all, and what his potential is, because, we are unfamiliar with him. And he said he can go. I mean, he gave a regular Pandas. He was like,
I clicked out of that pretty quick. Yeah.
He can go as high as he wants to, etc. But then I did ask him about the fact that Paxton Aronson has started 2 matches in Louisville, and they played 2 matches in Louisville, and if we can look into that at all. And he did answer that. He said no. He said no. He just came back to us from the Gold Cup. He came back a little late in preseason. I think they wanted to get some minutes. He didn't play in the Gold Cup, right? A lot. Or did he play at all in the Gold Cup?
He played
in the actual Gold Cup.
The bench once or twice, I think. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so I think they wanted to get some minutes in his legs, but he specifically said no, do not read into this as far as like anything with regards to like starting, being in the squad, or anything like that. So
yeah,
that's what I talked to on the field. But let me tell y'all, I talked about how I had scoped out the situation, right? And I was gonna get down there and talk to Nathaniel Brown. My plan was thwarted because I didn't get down to the pitch fast enough. He was gone by the time I got on the pitch. And the reason why I was late getting to the pitch is because so the media, we're up above in the media room or whatever. I'm media room, and there's an elevator down to the field. Okay, we hit the button. We're waiting on the elevator to come. Elevator doesn't come. We're sitting there. It's like all the media people. There's like a dude from Germany there. There's me and a couple other people, and the elevator doesn't come for like 5 minutes. We're sitting there waiting for this elevator for like literally 5, 6, 7 minutes. And it's like, there's the media floor, there's the first floor, and then there's the pitch. Like, this is a 3-level elevator. So surely it should have came up at some point. And then it finally comes up. Why was the elevator not moving? Because the elevator attendant had the door open and was just trying to cool off. It was just trying to cool off because their portable fan, the portable fan had stopped, like the battery had died, which I do get. And they be having these ladies in these hot ass elevators for 2 hours or 3 hours, or since the stadium opened, so probably about 4 or 5 hours or something. But so I understand why she did that. But yeah, that's the reason why the elevator wasn't moving. Then we get on, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, y'all." This is like, it's a 50-year-old black lady, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, y'all, but the battery done died. I'm burning up." I'm like, you know what? It's all good. That the German dude is pretty frustrated. The German dude has been like pacing back and forth waiting on this elevator, and so he's kind of pissed. But like, he doesn't say anything to her. But But yeah, we finally get on the pitch, and I'm looking around. Yeah, no Nathaniel Brown, unfortunately. So I learned a valuable lesson, which is next time you just got to take your opportunities. Just run up, just sometimes you just got to run up and bum rush somebody. Understood. But I thought it was all lost, but then I got some valuable stuff from Timmy Chandler, so that was cool.
Yeah. Those things those situations are always chaotic. So let's get out of here, Charlie. You gotta go. Let's get out of here. Couple more quick things. So great job on the ground at Lim Family Stadium, Vince. And Gianluca is, he's saying that he's got to be a team leader this year. He feels like a Venetian. That's he's getting started here shortly. John Tolkien is going to ply his trade in the double Bundesliga. He actually already started the game over the weekend at Paderborn, which they lost, which Holstein Kiel lost. And then, so I just want to mention that real quick. And then the last thing is, Charlie, can you give us a couple takeaways from the call with Turner this morning? Matt Turner coming back to the Revs, trying to get his job back with the national team. Maybe that's not even his main concern at this point. He just wants to play. But
it is. He made clear that the national team is part of this, and I think he realizes that he's got to be playing. I think he feels that on a personal level as well as his national team career. But it's kind of he was a reflective Matt Turner, I would say. One of the quotes that I grabbed was he said, "I had some misfortunes, had some opportunities I didn't make the most of as well." Speaking about his European adventure, it just didn't go perfectly to plan. However, I started my beautiful family over there. I have zero regrets about my time in England, and yeah, I really loved it. So I never shut a door on a return either. But it's good to be back here right now, and I need to find my form leading into the World Cup. Now I turn to an extended family here in New England to take me in with open arms and just let me focus on my work and getting ready to achieve my ultimate goal, which we all know is to play in the 2026 World Cup here in the States.
All right.
Nice.
And he's got work to do because the Revs are well below the playoff line. They are struggling. And if he can jump back into things that quickly, then that'll be good news for USMNT fans.
He's always good for a great quote, isn't he? He's like one of the better. He's one of the better talkers dude on the national team. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get going. We appreciate everybody who subscribes, and thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you.